Hello, good day, beautiful people. I am the Inspirational Lady Noble 365 Tarot. Welcome to my channel. I greatly appreciate you being here. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I trust you will love this vibe, and everything you need to know about me is in the description below. This could be past, present, or future. You or someone around you. So take what resonates and leave the rest for someone else. This is a general read. This is not a personal read. And if you like a personal read, check out the description below. And I'll be happy to assist you with doing so. Keep in mind that tarot is a tool. It is not the final rule. So it is a good idea to have an empty cup when you are on Lady Noble's channel. You really want to see what's up. Hope you all are doing wonderful and feeling great today. Okay? All right. All right. And so the card that I have for you today, the Oracle card I have is Breathe Like You Know How. Breathe like you know how. So there's an energy once again, but this is something that always needs to be reiterated in general. It's a positive thing. So this is about learning to slow down, and connect with yourself, even if it's for a few seconds, a few minutes, a few moments, and just breathing in, having those moments of peace or silence, even if it's a few seconds or moment. Spirit is saying you could be someone who is considered to be extremely busy. Maybe you have a lot going on in your life. You could feel like, look, I am the head of my household. I'm the one in charge. You could also feel that, that things aren't done accurately if you're not present. And so you may feel like you have to monitor and supervise different situations when it comes to your home front, your home, your family, your children, anything regarding taking care of any kind of business. So you feel like, look, if I'm not there, it's just something's going to go wrong. You feel that, the mission won't be complete, or whomever you left in charge may begin to lack in one place or another. But Spirit wants you to take your time to breathe in. It says, inhale the good shit, exhale the bad shit. So inhale, exhale. Okay. So we have to stay in constant reminder that we can only control ourselves. There are many things that we will be connected to in our life that is out of our control, but we must keep in mind that we can only control how we respond to things and situations that we may not be in agreement of or with, but there's a way to thrive and land on your feet safely and accurately when you continue to do the work of thyself. Spirit is saying, I'm speaking to a group of people, or whomever may see this message. These are people who are choosing to work towards progress in their life in one way or another. It does not have to be something major. It could be something as simple as not indulging in gossip, or being mindful of not having a negative mindset. It doesn't have to be anything major, like maybe you're going to build a home from the ground up. It could be, okay, but this is in all aspects of your life. Spirit is saying to be well informed that you have to slow down and simply breathe sometimes, and give yourself a moment, give yourself time to adjust. We live in a world that is constantly going through changes repetitively, and it's supposed to, it is what it is here on planet Earth. But you need to have an understanding and a respect of, hey, it is what it is. And while you are here, I'm pretty sure no matter who you are, you at least want to experience a little bit of joy and happiness, or some form of bliss in your life. So that's, in order to have that experience, you must continue to keep the peace and the calm within yourself. Do not allow yourself to give your power and your energy away to any person, place, or thing that tries to distract you. Or maybe no one is trying to distract you. Maybe there could just be some things that you just don't like. And Spirit is saying not to be hyperly focused on what you don't like. Instead, direct your attention against the things that you do like and love in your life. Don't focus on the people who may hate you or not like you. Focus on where the love is. Okay. Focus on where the love is so you can have no ups given, okay? Therefore, you're able to make sure that you stay in alignment no matter what kind of curveball that is thrown your way, and you don't become emotionally or spiritually disheveled. And then you'll become, wiser to know how to dance in the storm. If KFOS, okay, maybe that's the name of something. If chaos is taking place around you, excuse me, collective, you are able to be still in the storm. You are able to dance in the storm, meaning you're not being oblivious, but you're not allowing different circumstances to pull on your energy to the point where you are depleted of your own life source, to the point where you forget about living, forget about being grateful, forget about, working on those projects or things you want to manifest or create in your own life. So there's a necessary need to remind yourself whenever you have funky moments. I'm going to call them funky moments, collective, and we all have them, doesn't matter who you are. Don't forget to pull yourself back into the light, as you slip into the darkness, slipping in the darkness. Okay. All right. As you slip into the darkness, I'm a firm believer, in walking in between the two, the light and the dark, and maybe mesh the both of them and find the balance. But when you find yourself going to an area of being excessively negative, or maybe the people you hang around could be very conflictual or full of dark energy. These could be people who always see the cup half empty. And maybe just hanging around these particular people or these environments as well that may have dark energy lurking somewhere, spirit is saying, could attach to you, or maybe you pick up on that energy, on that frequency, and you may be aware of this and you may not be aware, but there's a responsibility, that you should have for yourself. You don't have to, you have free will, but you should have for yourself of just being mindful of who you allow into your life, and what kind of places you allow yourself to be at, or places to go around, spirit is saying. Okay, it's something about an environment or somewhere that somebody goes that could be harvesting some kind of negative energy. And it's not that anybody is doing anything to you. It's just this area or this place is not of a positive aura or any kind of good substance there. There's nothing growing there. Okay, I'll convey the message there. Everything is dead, withered away, lifeless. Okay, there's nothing bountiful going on. Okay, and this could also consist of the people that somebody is hanging around, a group of people or a person that's extremely negative. This could be someone who always complain. They don't applaud for people, but they're always looking for something to be wrong all the time. I picked up on this the other day. So there's someone who could quite watch the videos often, who needs to hear this message because it's coming up again. There's someone, or this could be for someone new. You're hanging around someone. This could be a family, a friend, anyone. This could be someone you're dating who's extremely negative, and it's impacting your life. And so spirit is saying, you can take the deep breaths, you can stay centered, but in order to really dance in the storm does not mean for you to assert yourself around people who live in a constant storm by choice. Okay, now we understand when things happen that are out of our control that may be unfavorable, but when you assert yourself around a particular type of people or person who's always harnessing negative dark energy, there is a repercussion for that. We have free will, but trust and believe that will taint your aura. That may create some leaks or some cracks like Swiss cheese, in your aura, and you'll begin to pick up their energy. And then you'll come to wondering, like, why are things not afloating, the way I want them to be, or, and what it is, it could simply be for somebody. It's just the people that you're hanging around or some kind of location that you go to. And spirit is saying, as I'm saying this, that you are aware of what this location is and this person or people is. So put the bits and pieces of the reading where it resonates for you. But they're saying that you are aware. You know who this person is. You could have possibly, or these people, you could have possibly thought about this, like, I need to stop going so and so, they're so negative. Or maybe when they call your phone, you're like, what do they want now? Because before a person arrives or tries to contact you energetically, their presence gets there before they actually contact you. Okay. So before you even answer the phone, the email, the text message, you've already pre-orchestrated that this person is going to be negative. And every time you have a conversation with them, that's exactly what it is. It's not that you don't want to be bothered. It's that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, because energy like this can make you sick and tired, aka deplete, your life force and source of your life. It can take away from you. And people want to prove that they're cool and that they're down and that they're not uppity. They put more energy towards proving a point to others that they often sacrifice themselves, and so hopefully, whomever you are, if you're experiencing this, that you will not sacrifice yourself, that you will not deal with situations that doesn't have reciprocity, energy that is in lack, low vibrational, dead energy. You want to be where the light is, not where the dark is. And so there's a goal for you to avoid this kind of energy. This reading is a message about people or locations, something about somewhere you go. This could be a hangout, okay? This would be somewhere that you go, a person's house, maybe, I don't know, a bar that you go to, some kind of outing that you maybe link up with friends and you go to from time to time. So, the repercussion, like I said, you have free will, but the repercussion is being in the energy of things not growing in your own personal life. And in reality, there is no one to blame for this. We hear about people, practicing magie and manipulating energy. But in this read, this is not anyone manipulating any kind of energy. This is just coming from not being mindful and choosing self-preservation. And so you wait and wonder, why isn't things working for you? And this could represent many things, these pentacles here: your relationship, your finances, your career, maybe you're starting a business, returning to school, your cash flow. Maybe you're also having creative blocks. Maybe you're creating or building something. Or maybe you're waiting for an approval and you're wondering, like, why isn't this happening? What is it? When there is a choice, you have a choice to be on the brighter side of things. But Spirit is saying, will you give yourself the opportunity? Will you pour into yourself? Will you practice self-preservation? Will you practice self-love? Will you put yourself before others? Because if your cup is not filled, you cannot pour into anyone else. And there is no points to prove. There is no points to prove to the point where you have to be sacrificing your life, your goals, your dreams, your aspirations. If the connection requires you to sacrifice and lose and not be able to create, with the Three of Swords, and be not in relief, be hurt and feeling afraid and inferior to who you are originally, then it's simply not worth it. There is no gain for you. There's nothing fruitful in this connection or this environment. So it's about how we respond to different circumstances and situations. But Spirit is saying you don't want to intentionally assert yourself around people, places, or things that does not serve you for your highest good. Okay, so as I said, we have free will, and those who want to spend their time or their life proving that they're cool or they're still down with the homies and I still come to the hood and all that kind of jazz, if you've had an opportunity to move forward, this part is for somebody Pacific, Spirit is saying there's no need to look back, okay? It's okay. And there's nothing wrong with living in the hood. That's not what the message is saying. But when life gives you an opportunity to progress, continue to move forward, looking back to prove a point only sends out the signal that you're not ready to go higher. You know, some people receive, this is for someone specifically. There are many people who receive lots of favor and blessings and opportunity in their life. And they're very happy and they're excited and they want people to celebrate. They want everyone to know, and that's okay. To each his own. You can do whatever you want. But little do they know, you know, they spend so much time looking for approval, you know, through the people outside of them. And Spirit actually wants you, like I said, someone wants to go back to their old neighborhood or hang around old friends who don't belong on their current timeline. It's like someone is reaching back when they need to keep moving forward. You know, you can go higher. You know, you may have been given a gift or some kind of blessing and you're at this level. But little do you know, if you refuse to look back, because you don't have to have survivor's remorse, you don't have to pull up to the hood and show everybody it's all good. There's more blessings awaiting you, more and more and more. But oftentimes people only experience a certain level of favor in their lives because they become consumed and they feel impelled to constantly look back into past situations and past connections that are over with and gone. You cannot get that old thing back, okay? Spiritually speaking, you know, what was, you know, has already been. And you cannot it'll never be the same as if it was before. But people try to play it out in their head as if, oh, if I see it this way, I can get that old relationship back. Oh, if I see it this way, I can make people like me. I can. No, 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 no. You're not put here to make anyone like you. If you're given an opportunity, this is for somebody Pacific. You've received a blessing and an opportunity. There's no need for you to keep looking back, because what happens is sometimes people put themselves in progress and you're successful. Maybe you bought a beautiful car, which is wonderful. There's nothing wrong with that. A beautiful home, you're traveling, you're doing things. And you want to go back to your homies and your friends who may not be doing what you are doing. Doesn't mean that they have nothing, but they just may not be on your level. The higher you go up, that admiration is going to turn into envy at some point. And that's when you get in the danger zone. And so it's not about being arrogant. It's not about being haughty. It's about really living your best life. And when you get that opportunity, continue to move forward. And so people often block their own blessings. They experience just a smidget of what spirit, the divine, has for them because they refuse to keep those old karmic doors closed. They do not want to move forward. You cannot take people with you. You cannot take everybody you ever met in your life from the day you were born with you through your entire timeline. Like let's let that marinate. Matter of fact, let's let it marinate 24 hours. Let's put the 24 hours on it. It just doesn't make sense, and I'm pretty sure it's going to make you lose a lot of dollars or possibility of even being able to attract wealth towards you. You know, you will find constant conflict when you try to bring the hood to the office. I'm just using that as a metaphor. You're going to find conflict. There is somebody, and I don't care how nice and kind you are to people, who will find a way to try to slander what you are doing or intercept your progress, whether it's how they carry themselves or present themselves. You may invite them somewhere. Maybe there's a dress requirement. This is for somebody Pacific. Ooh wee. This is for somebody very Pacific. If this is not your story, you know somebody collective who just received the opportunity of a lifetime. And when I say opportunity, I'm talking about a major opportunity. But this is someone who they're unable to move forward without looking back. You know, they want to constantly go back into those old love connections, you know, those karmic ties, those old friendships in the sandbox at 5 years old. That person at 5 years old may not even be interested in trailing behind you. They'll come for the invite. They'll come eat the cheesecake. and drink the free wine. But sooner or later, that admiration will turn into envy. So, whomever you are, you have a lot of success and victory. Make sure that you are taking time to yourself to unwind and breathe in and breathe out, okay? And so that you will know how to recalibrate your energy, because there's no need. I don't know what it is where people feel they have to look back. Those people you looking back at, they may smile and kiki with you. They may show you all of their dental line, but are they actually happy for you? It's just like, let's go deeper, collective. It's just like throwing a party, any kind of party. Just imagine any kind of party or celebration. It's wonderful to have a party or a celebration. There's nothing wrong with it. But the reality is, just about every person that shows up to that event, whether it's a wedding, an anniversary, a birthday party, a baby shower, a bridal shower, every guest at that event has a different reason for being there. I know, mic drop. Every guest at that event, whether it's your event or somebody else's, this is just something to think about, has a different reason for being there. Some people may say, I was bored. Some people may say, I was invited as a plus one. Some people may say, we go way back. That's my homie. That's my bro. That's my sister. I got love for them. Okay. Some people may say, I'm here to celebrate. I'm happy to see them go forward. And then you may have somebody else who may say, I don't know why I can't. I ain't had nothing else to do. I can go on and on. Every guest at the party is there for a different reason. So every guest that shows up on your timeline and in your life is there for a different reason. But you have to use your discernment and be able to scan, and don't be oblivious when you see the signs and the symbols, and you know when to not take a person with you in the direction that you are going. This is for somebody so specific. There is something that you are refusing to let go. And Spirit is trying to bless you with this opportunity, but you have to be willing to let go. That means sever ties. And just because a person severs ties, that does not mean that the person you're severing with is a bad, wicked person. Let's get it clear with my channel. I'm just going to talk about me, no other readers. When I say sever ties, it doesn't mean that that person is a terrible person. It just means that their time has expired far as existing with you on your timeline. It's time for you to move on. That doesn't mean that they're a terrible person. Their time has expired, okay? It's like playing a video game and maybe you got so many minutes. Okay, you're at the arcade. You got so many minutes. And you got to get them. And once your minutes is up, you got to do what? Put more coins in there. And those coins are what? Investment, because those coins cost what? Money. Let's use that as a metaphor. So they're done. Their time has expired. And your spirit guides and source does not want you to continue to invest in a karmic relationship, connection, or experience, however you refer to it. And their time is up. There's nothing else for them to do. It's like a stage play. There is no script for them. There's no lines for them. They would be like an NPC, a non-playable character, in the video game, just waving back and forth with no kind of artillery, nothing in their arsenal. They have no weapons, no defense mechanisms, because their time is up, but you're trying to hold them there, and it's time for them to go. And so things become stagnant or moving slow, or you take a step, then you take 2 steps back, or you take 3 steps, then another step back. You're constantly in a teeter-totter. And that's because you are resisting to leave the past behind. And so when I say several ties, what I'm conveying, and Spirit is saying to explain this, because people got it confused. When I am speaking, I'm not speaking for nobody else on my channel. Severing ties means their time is up to be in your life. It has expired. The light is flashing. Expired. So trying to force them to stay there, they have no artillery. They have no script in this play. There's nothing for them to do. There's no description for them to feel. Would be what? Purposeless, if that is a word. Pointless. Because we all have our own paths and missions here on planet Earth. We are all uniquely, individually, divinely created. They have their own mission. The person I'm speaking of, the cross watcher, or if this is your story, collective, they have their own life to live, their own lessons to learn, and lessons in karmic. And when I say karmic, that does not mean negative. That means lessons to learn and grow from, experience to enhance your abilities as you continue to exist here on planet Earth. That's what I'm conveying whenever you hear those words. Nothing less, nothing more. And if they have no title or really no necessary reason to be on your timeline, I'm pretty much, they don't want to be there either. Like, I love you, good luck to you, but I got stuff to do too. They have a life too. They have ancestors also. Everybody got their own group of ancestors that fluctuate and change from time to time. That's another video. They have their own purpose to fulfill. They have their own, temptations and stuff to avoid and see can they overcome and build. Everybody matters here. Spiritually speaking, it's deeper than deep. Talk about the rabbit hole. It's deeper than deep. So the whole objective of this message is to constantly take time for yourself to recalibrate your energy. Use your wisdom and your discernment, and you'll be able to be still whenever chaos is brewing around you or attempting to brew around you. Use your wisdom and your discernment when it comes to the type of people you want to have in your life, or you desire to have in your life, or who you allow in your household. Something about household is coming up here. You can do whatever you want, but there's always a repercussion for that. There's a repercussion. Everything will eventually run its course. It will run its course. And people will run their course on your timeline. But they have a life too, just like the messages I'm delivering to you. They have a life to fulfill also. Whether they are able to step into the light, Carol Ann, and pick up the pieces, that's on them. That's between them and the divine, on their own timing. As I always say, my only intentions of my channel and my messages is to intrigue you to find a light within yourself and pivot in your own direction. That is for your highest good, not my highest good. That is for you in your right timing, not when I tell you to. May you be intrigued to find your own spark, and that's different for everyone. May you find encouragement and upliftment. There's nothing less or more happening on this channel. Okay? The Ace of Cups is overflow, and you don't want to be in a battle. You don't want to be in a battle. And this is what I was talking about when I said you'll take one step forward, and then you have to take 2 steps back, or you will take 3 steps forward, then you got to, you don't want to be up and down because you're refusing to let go people, places, and things that just no longer serves you. The same old thing being done and getting the same old results. Not with everything in your life, but some things in your life. Yeah. Some things in your life. Not with everything, but some things in your life. You don't want to look at that, how it's like a tug of war. That's that up and down energy. This is my cup. No, this is my cup. Yeah. Nobody wants to be in that. We all are important. We all are valuable. Everybody is loved by somebody, whether we like them, get along with them or not. Everybody is important. Everybody. It doesn't matter about your nationality, your cultural or religious practice, whether you're spiritual, what kind of moisturizer you use, how you was raised. Everybody has purpose and everybody matters. And nobody owes us anything. The greatest thing I ever learned, and I shared this before, is that nobody owes me anything. It's just a fact. Whatever it is, I have to make that happen on my own. Nobody owes me anything, and I stand on that. Facts, truth. You can't go around with a chip on your shoulder, mad about this and that. Mm-mm. People do foul things, yes, they do. But you're fully capable and able to do something different that you haven't done. And that will get you some kind of different result. And it takes time, it doesn't happen overnight. You have to be willing to do something different that you haven't done in order to get a different result. And a lot of times it requires severing ties. Once again, that does not mean that they're a terrible person. That does not mean that you don't love them. That means their time on your timeline has expired. There's no more tokens to put in the machine. You're getting ready to lose the game. You only got so much time and so many minutes. This game will stop playing very shortly. And you don't have to announce your arrival or your departure. You don't have to make a big, a big circus act. You can just simply choose to move forward. Those who want to be the loudest and seek attention is often the weakest. We know this. We know that they're the weakest link because they are trying to demand some kind of approval and notoriety that they feel that isn't in their life. So they may, this is like a person being extra, being loud, trying to get attention. That is someone who feels deficient within themselves. They don't feel efficient. They feel like they are in lack. They don't feel loved. And all these things I'm naming, these are personal things that may be going on within people who are around you, but that is out of your control. Or this may be going on with someone you're in contact with, but that's out of your control. You're not put here and obligated to be Captain Save-'em for everyone around you who has a need, or everyone around you who has that entitlement energy. There are people who feel entitled, like you must do this, you must do that. No. What I must do is make sure I live my best life. Okay, that's what I must do, and make sure that my cup is full. You can't give all the time. You have to take that cup and drink from that cup yourself. Have you a bit, drink for yourself. But this energy here is pulling because they are accustomed to you being there. Giving away your power, your energy, your resources, your time. This could also be someone who maybe confided in you, maybe for many years, family or friend. This could be someone who may be trusting you. Maybe they will come to you and talk to you. You know how a person go through something, they want to confide in someone. There's nothing wrong with that. But maybe this person has done it for so long that it's starting to wear on your energy. And it's not about being cold. It's time for them to move on and find somebody else to confide in. Like, I love you, I wish you the best, but it's time for you to move on and find somebody else to confide in. I've been your listening ear for 15 years. Can somebody else have a turn? And whatever you're still whining about, you should have moved on from that by now. So you got to be mindful. People are constantly let me correct that. People are constantly inflicting their negative energy onto each other. This happens on a daily. It's happening right now while I'm talking. Worldwide, constantly, but when you know who you are and you're able to use your wisdom and discernment and you're doing your spiritual maintenance and you're practicing your spiritual hygiene, when you know, you'll take care of that. You don't have to be flustered. This is not a message to be anxious or paranoid about. This is just a message to stand in your truth. And it's time to let go of that idea, that habit, that person, that place you hang out, something from your past or something that has been I'm saying past because it has been in your life or your experience for way too long, Spirit is saying. And it's doing nothing, it's draining you. Like I said, you could be that friend with the listening ear. And you may say to yourself, I don't mean no harm. You say this to yourself all the time, but I wish they stopped calling me so and so with all that. They always negative. And you just been tolerating it. You just been listening. There's many things to be talked about, but I have to give the messages as they are. I can't sit here and tell you that your ex-lover is crying over you and wants you back badly and having bad luck just because I want to be favored. I can't do that. That's part of the message. They're telling me to let you know this. So, I can't do that. I can't, let me say this. No, I have to give the channel message. Yeah, I can't pump fake. I can't. There's a repercussion for that for me. I'm not doing that. It is what it is. Pay attention to patterns. Pay attention to patterns. Spirit is saying slow down so that you'll be able to connect more with your ability to be aware. There really shouldn't be too much that you're entangled with, whether this is your job, your dating life, maybe some kind of hobby you have, where you're constantly in the energy of feeling like you have anxiety. You should be always breathing in and breathing out. There's a need to get into the habit of that, Spirit is saying. As things continue to unfold worldwide with the 9 of Wands, following these things that I am mentioning will help you persevere. I hope you can see that. I apologize if you can't. This is the 9 of Wands in the upright position. Okay, this is persevering. If it was the other way, that means someone wouldn't be able to overcome, but this is overcoming. This goes well with, dance in the storm, okay? Dancing in the storm, overcoming, persevering, making it through. Yes, there are challenges, but making it through, okay? Seeing yourself out on the brighter side of things, seeing yourself win, seeing yourself be, being accomplished, living the life that you desire. It is not far away. It just takes consistent work. Any person that you feel is successful in your opinion, because we all have different opinions when it comes to the true meaning of happiness, what happiness is and what success is. Anyone you ask those 2 questions, everyone's going to have a different answer, and they're supposed to, because we're all different people. But any person that you feel is successful, in your opinion, would tell you, if you say, well, how did you get there? How did you do it? They're going to tell you it's consistent work. They're going to tell you that. It's consistent work. Doesn't matter whether it's a singer, a dancer, a rapper, an actor, a writer, a chef, a cook, an entrepreneur, someone who does real estate, whatever, a broker, anything. Something about an art buyer, okay, an art buyer, whatever. They're going to tell you that it's consistent work. There is no way, and it is what it is, collective. There is no way to skip a step in the process, or I'm going to sit on my hands and hopefully it fall from the sky. No, it's consistent work. It's consistent work. If you ask any person who you feel successful, and they don't have to be world renowned, it could be somebody community renowned, hood renowned, someone who you admire that maybe they work in your community, or they're an entrepreneur in some kind of way, and they're respected for what they do. They will tell you it's consistent work. Speaking of the energy of people feeling lack of food, anyone that's running a pantry, or they are connected or affiliated or working with a food pantry, guess what they're going to tell you? How do you get your donations? And guess what they're going to tell you? It's consistent work. It's consistent work to keep the food in the pantry, to have enough to feed families. It's anything that you want to achieve is consistent work. It is not dropping in your lap. You want to grow your hair. It's consistent work. If we want to lose weight, what we got to do? Consistently do what? Work. I can go on and on. Save money. We got to consistently do what? Save. Yeah. It's consistent work. A person establish any kind of business and maybe they want to pass it down as generational wealth. Maybe they want it to be part of their legacy. Guess what they're going to have to do? Consistently do what? Work. But it doesn't feel like work because these are things that they are passionate about. So they're not stressed or overwhelmed in the process. But what I'm saying, I should use a different analogy instead of work because the etymology of that is just in the vibration of work. It can deter people, but look, it takes action. It takes action to live in your purpose, stand in your purpose, and live the life you desire. It takes constant action. To keep a house clean, you got to do what? Consistently do what? Clean. You want your eyebrows to look nice. You have to consistently do what? Pluck, wax, whatever it is you do, thread. Okay, somebody tweeze. Did I say that right? Tweeze or tweet their eyebrows. You want to become better at drawing. You're an artist. You're going to keep working. You're going to keep getting at it. It's no way around it. You're a tattoo artist. I always pick up on your energy. Hey, you. You're going to critique your craft. You're going to get better and better because you're consistently working. Nothing is going to just fall in your lap. That goes for all of us. Nobody's exempt from that fact or from that rule. No one's exempt. There has to be some kind of action taking place to see a result. Everybody wants to be where it's calmer, where it's, cooler, where it's, you can relax more, you can live the life that you're given. This is the Six of Swords. This is a calmer situation. Everybody wants that energy, but it's consistent work to get there. And moving on to calmer waters or a situation that is more peaceful or more favorable for you, this could mean many things. This does not always mean, leaving a hard relationship. This could be your mindset, changing your mind to change your life. This could be shifting your perception. This could be something very simple. You could be someone and you could be saying, you know what? I did learn to change my mind. It is changing my life. How I see people, how I see myself, how I judge people. You know what? It is changing my life. I am grateful for that. Yes. And staying spiritually connected. So whenever that energy tries to arrive, it's immediately fizzed out. It immediately dissipates. It dissolves. It's removed. This is the Ten of Swords in the upright. This is ending. This is closure. This is having that aura so unpenetrable, if I said that right. Okay? This person is in spiritual connection. This could be prayer, this could be chanting, this could be meditation, ending that cycle, removing negative energy, people, places, things, and entities, whatever, and energy. Okay? Knowing how to cope and deal when things arise. Whatever works for you. If it's prayer, do that. If it's grounding, do that. If it's meditation, do that. If it's chanting, do that. I like them all. But find what works for you and do that. But be willing to let this thing go that has been in your life for way too long. And it's time to let it go and let it flow because, the Ten of Pentacles, this is harmony financially, but harmony within your home. As you see, they're holding this pentacle here, but their arms is stretched to those doors. Harmony within your home, harmony within yourself. within your vessel, within your body, mind, and spirit. And that will reflect, that will reflect on the outside. And you don't want to be in a battle because you refuse to let what needs to go. Let it go and let it afloat, you know? And you don't have to, as I always inform, announce your arrival or your departure. There are many times where people want to end connections, but sometimes they don't know how to end them or they feel like they got to have a talk about everything. Sometimes you can just stop answering your phone or stop accepting invites. You don't have to curse anybody out. You don't have to be confrontational. The moment you stop showing up, they will get it. People will get it. They don't want to be bothered. Exactly. You don't owe everyone an explanation. You really don't. No, sometimes you can have that talk, but 99.999 all the time, you really don't need to have that talk. Okay? So this concludes the read. I trust and hope it assists you for your highest good. Later.